Hi folks, it's Wednesday. We're halfway there. It's Bon Jovi Day. I'm going to row for around about 22 minutes in order to cover 5,000 meters on my rowing machine today. And I ask you to follow along with me, to row along with me, hence the name of the channel. Now I'm going to keep on going for a little bit longer, just for those of you who don't quite hit that 5,000 meters. I know that some of you are going to be faster than me and you're going to get way past that 5K, in which case either use it as a cool down or keep rowing or whatever, all right? So, we need to set up our machines first. Sorry, set up is the word I was looking for there. And let's head to drag factor or resistance, whatever you have on your machine. And what I want you to look for is a weight to your machine, a setting, resistance, whatever, where if you're connected to the stroke, you can feel everything going through it, but you don't have to tug and heave against it in order to get the thing moving. That's too high. Too low is when you're just flapping around and it doesn't feel like you're connected at all. Next up, go to your foot stretcher height, and I want you to set that to a point where you're able to come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. If you're too high, it's a bit tough to get there. Too low, what can happen is that you overcompress, shins go past vertical, and then your backside escapes from underneath you. It's like, oh, I can. And you get a less effective workout that way. So the ballpark here is that the straps cover the balls of your feet, the widest part of your feet. Often, feet lower is better than feet higher, but adjust for you, okay? And then when it comes to the seat, I want you to sit more towards the front of the seat and more towards the front part of your backside, okay? You should be able to, if you had a bar of chocolate in the back of your shorts, then that should be okay in this position. I don't want you sitting back. This is when you start to crush the chocolate, okay? Nobody wants a crushed chocolate bar. And finally, the handle. I want you to hold that at shoulder width rather than narrow, with a loose grip, fingers hooked over the handle. What you do with your thumbs is entirely up to you. That's an argument that is ongoing after my how to hold the handle thing. If you row well with your thumbs on top, you do you, but I don't want to do that. It hurts my arms. So, here we go then. We're going to get into today's row after quite a long intro in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, sometimes I think, I wonder what I'm going to talk about today. And then other times, it's like a bus. All these things come along. That I'm thinking, oh, I could talk about that, I could talk about that. So, I'm going to try and go through this in order. So starting off, remember, just for the first few minutes, just get your body moving, okay? So really, if you can just think about posture, that's the most important thing. Sitting up, and then tilting forwards. Sit up, tilt forwards. But that posture is really important, okay? It's not just about rounding your lower back. Think about up, forwards. Then, I want you just to think about straight arms. So, as you finish the stroke, arms come away, they're nice and straight. So that as you come into the front, you can push your legs into the machine, keeping those arms straight. Then you can swing over your back to continue the power. Pulling at the back of the stroke. So important that you pull at the back and not the front. If you need to fight the flywheel by pulling at the front, then I'd ask you to lower your resistance or your drag factor. So there we go. That's the basics of technique. I might return to technique later, but sometimes I think it's best just to mix it up a bit and not do my big 10-minute soliloquy about it. So, point number 2. I'm going to get to point number 3 in a minute. But point number 2 is the return of the carrot t-shirt. For those of you who are familiar with row along, you will, sorry, I just got distracted. You may be familiar with this t-shirt that on the back of it, there's an image of a upturned carrot right at the bottom of the t-shirt, and it says, "Don't snap the carrot." Because this is one of the ways I used to try to explain posture, was about imagining you had a carrot stuck up your backside. The key there being imagining, okay? And yeah, so you'd want to kind of tilt with a good posture and a braced core to prevent the carrot from snapping. I've not worn this t-shirt for a while, I don't think, so it also it's so bright, it's quite hard to work with because of the amount of lights that I need to have on to get the green screen to work. This orange t-shirt tends to go a little bit day glow. So, point number 3. Remember, I'm just going to quickly hit technique again before I talk about point number 3. Remember, you are trying to get good posture, tilt forwards, hands past knees before you bend your knees. Hands are past, and just as my head is about to pass my knees, that's when I bend them. And then try and slide only to shins vertical, and then push your feet into the machine. Push the machine away from you. I'm going to come back to this in item 4 on today's agenda. But item 3 is, and apologies to the podcast people, because you're not going to see this, but today's background app is one I've never used before. I literally only just stumbled upon it. It's called Ergometer Space, and it is entirely free. So if you just go to Ergometer Space website, you can run it on your computer, or there is an iOS version and an Android version. And you'll see various graphs and data and a map and all that kind of stuff. And I'll rewind because I need to explain a little bit. So I'm currently making my own app. The RA-RO or RARO or RARO, which connects to the PM5 and controls it. You can program in workouts and things. And part of this app I'm making includes force curve coaching, where I am training the app on various different kinds of force curves for it to recognize when you are rowing and what your force curve is like. It will then come up with some coaching. Like, it'll know when you are opening your back and pulling too early. It'll know when you're not getting your sequencing right, all that kind of stuff. So, although I'm training it, it's always good to hunt for other advice on what to do. So I typed in force curve advice, and that is how Ergometer Space popped up. Because you'll see top left, there is a cell for power curve, and underneath it, there is a cell where advice is supposed to come up. But, oh, it was also one showing that I told a lie about drag factor. Apparently, on my levers at 4, it's 114, not 130. But yeah, so you'll see that actually the curve isn't really doing anything, and neither is the advice, which is a bit disappointing, but hey, it gives another reason why you might want to look at my app. But when you look at it, there's a whole bunch of other great data on the screen as well. A nice chart of power that I've been putting in through the workout so far. It looks like I'm round about 160 odd watts. Let's see, yeah, power 163. Then it's showing heart rate as well. I've got heart rate zones, speed, like current speed. So if you're a data junkie and you like just looking at metrics, then Ergometer Space is quite an interesting app. Like I say, completely free, and I'm pretty sure that it will connect to other users. So if you, this is something I'll have to test. Sorry, somebody's calling me. That's going to be a spam call. If only I was able to answer the phone and do my spam reply. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, connecting to other people. You can create a room, get a room, and then send the link to your friends, and then you can row together. Now that's clever. That's something I'd love to put in my app, but not quite yet. Maybe I'll get in touch with these folks, see if they can give you advice. Anyway, so just thought to show it to you in case you're interested in the variety of different apps out there, because really, if you're just looking for metrics, then Erg Data and Erg Zone are currently your best options. Can't remember what Rodeo's like. I'll maybe do that tomorrow. But I'm hoping that my RA row will compete quite well in terms of people going, oh, that's an interesting idea. I don't think I'll ever actually compete against Erg Data or Erg Zone, but I'm hoping people will at least recognize the value of what I've made. So check out Ergometer Space, and look, we've even got a map, and that's quite cool. So we seem to be on the Thames because we're about to go under Hammersmith Bridge. So that's quite a handy wee thing to follow. Wonder how hard that is to program. Anyway, so next item on the agenda. Now this is something that it pops up from time to time, and it's worth talking about each time it does, and that's about the difference between you and me when you are following my stroke rate. So I am rowing 20 strokes a minute, and currently 2:07 pace. Now, if you're following my stroke rate, stroke, up in there. If you're following my stroke rate, then you may be going the same pace as me, you may be going faster, you may be going slower. And so there was a post on the Concept 2 community Facebook group about just this. Someone, I'm not too sure what you posted, so I can name you, can't I? I hope so. Apologies if you'd rather I didn't say your name, but Paula posted, hi Paula, on the Concept 2 community page, basically saying she rode along to yesterday's video, or one of them, and in the time it took me to cover 5,000 meters, Paula had a different result. Even though she was matching me stroke for stroke. Why is that? And it's because it's not about the machine. It's about the power that you put in to the machine. So you can move at 20 strokes a minute. Let's see. It's not that big a cell, but if you see third one down in the big column of data is where power is. And so I'm currently rowing at 168 watts per stroke. Now I'm going to continue 20 strokes a minute, but I'm not going to push as hard with my legs. So here we go. And you can see my power as I drop down to 119 watts because I'm no longer pushing as hard with my legs. So if I go back up, and you can hear the difference in the flywheel. So if I do it again, go easy, listen to the flywheel. And then as I increase, it gets louder as I put more force in to the stroke. Much the same as if I put even more in. Here we go. The flywheel gets louder and my power went up to 230 watts per stroke. And actually you can see exactly that on the graph from this app. You can see the little drops in power, and then you can see that big boost. And that is the difference. It's not about stroke rate. It's about the power that you put in as well as stroke rate. So if I put in, oh, the numbers will be wrong here, but if I push with like 100 newtons of force at 20 strokes a minute, but then push with 100 newtons of force at 30 strokes a minute, I'm going to go faster because of stroke rate going up. But that's when we get into stroke power index, and that's all a little bit confusing, so let's not get that far. So the point is the power you put into the machine. And it's not just about thinking about pushing your legs into the machine, because again, and I'll demonstrate this when we're at the end of the 5K, but you can power into the machine with a good technique, arm straight, forward tilt, core braced, sliding to shins vertical, and then making sure to push your legs at the same time the handle picks up the flywheel. That moment when you feel the chain connect to the gear. If you push at the same time and you hold your forward tilt and your arms straight, then that power flows from your legs first. And this is where it's a bit of a shame that the power curve doesn't seem to be working on here, because I could show that properly, but if you can push the power from your legs first, and then when your legs are halfway through the drive, you then swing your back to add in power, and then pull into a finish at the back of the stroke, then you're using three potential, or potential, you're using three power generators to get as much force into the stroke as possible for as long as possible. And that's the thing. If you swing your back and pull your arms at the same time as your legs, you might be able to match that initial rise of the force curve, but you've spent all your power, so you get no distance to it. It just goes up and down. Whereas when you drive with the legs, then swing your back, then pull in your arms, that's when you get a nice kind of long hill to your force curve. So it's about power, but it's also about technique. Okay, making sure arm straight, forward tilt, core braced, and pushing the machine away with your feet. Because somebody else asked in a post about how I say to push the machine away. You know, like, I'm pushing as much as I can, but it's not making much difference. And that's because they're not connecting the feet to the hands through the back. All right, 5K done for me. Woohoo! One thing that's just dawned on me is that this app isn't connected to the Concept 2 logbook. So I'm gonna have to go on and manually entry numbers. I don't like, this sounds stupid, but I don't like manual entry, because it's like someone else could look at my logbook and go, oh, did you really row 6,000 meters that day, or did you just type it in? The good thing is, of course, we have video evidence. So I'm just backing off the power here. I can still try and hold 20 strokes a minute in case you are following me for rate. But I am gonna go through and demonstrate some of the things I was talking about when it comes to the stroke. So apologies, because this possibly will throw you off. So for a start, because I have backed right off, you will see my power is now down to like 100. And you can see that graph has just dropped because I'm cooling down here rather than powering into the stroke. But I'm still forward tilt, arms straight, legs, then back, then arms for power. But if I omit the back, so I'm constantly leaning backwards here, so I'm not adding my back at all, you'll see that power has gone down. Now, not by that much, because percentages, when I'm already down at 100 watts, it's kind of a small difference. But you can see that, and actually my stroke rate's gone up as well. So, sorry folks if you were following me. So if I try and keep it to 20, putting in the same kind of perceived effort for my legs, yeah, so 80, 85 watts I've dropped down to. And that's because I'm not adding in my back, all right? So get back to, the power goes up. And now, if I pull, swing, and push at the same time, so what's happening here? The power, there we go, I was going to say the power is exactly the same there. I'm not even pulling early there, that's better. That's all I need to do is to pull early. So I'm swinging my back, I'm pulling my arms, I'm still, right, listen, I can't get the stroke rate right because my timing's all over the place when I'm doing that. But trust me, there you go, 80 power for the last one. But trust me, you don't want to be coming into the front, pulling, swinging your back, and then pushing your legs. That's where it all goes wrong. Oh dear. Sometimes, maybe I should do these experiments before I do the workout. I wonder whether I might, once we get up to 6,000 meters, I might quickly just look at what the settings cog is for power curve, because I'm interested to see why that's not working, because I've managed to get the force curve working in my app, so I don't quite know why it's not working here, and I'm interested to see what the advice is. Looks like my little rower on the map though is heading for an ice cream. He's on the beach. I wonder what's happened there. There we go, what I was saying about, I wonder how difficult that is to program. That's possibly the issue. Maybe they need to draw a path for the rower to follow. And now that we're coming up to 6K in, we've hit the end of that path. I don't know. But that's a shame. I kind of thought that was really quite clever. I like that you can see your heart rate zones on screen. I can see current heart rate, percentage of max heart rate. There's no way my current heart rate is 156 sharp. I think this is a PM5 read error, not the app. I think there is just Bluetooth interference in here that causes a problem. All right, there we go. Right, so that's me at the end of the 6K. Was it an entertaining row today for my chat? I don't know if it was. What was I saying? Standard system, room user, no. Edit curve, share, no. Show difference. I would have thought then, so there's nothing in there that, and then speak advice, display arm, trunk, legs, percentage. Well, that'd be quite handy. Let's go and see what happens there. Compare sensitivity, because that's what, it's not doing it. All right, because that's the other thing that there's various technique things I want to work into my app that they're eventually going to get in there, but I'm not going to release them yet. It's going to take a while to train it. So anyway, right, there we go. That is our row today. Maybe you're still rowing, in which case, keep on rowing. It's not about me, it's about you. But I'm going to get into some stretching. So feet back in the foot plates, straps loose, flick your toes against the straps, legs nice and straight, hands in the air, and then fold your upper body down towards your legs. And if you've got your legs straight and you've got that fold happening rather than it being a curve of the lower back, you should get a really nice stretch down here into your hamstrings. And if you dangle your arms either side, then gravity helps to make this a dynamic stretch, so that as your hamstrings start to stretch off, your body sinks a little bit further forward, further down, and then you continue to get, like say, when you initially start, you're like, that's 100% of what I can manage, right? And say the stretch length of your hamstrings is 50 centimeters, right? As that stretch length of your hamstrings gets to like 51, 52, because they're easing off, this is all nonsense, by the way, numbers-wise, but hopefully it makes sense. Your body is able, like, basically what would normally happen is that as that stretch increased, then the effectiveness of the stretch would reduce if it was just a standard like sitting up and kind of leaning forwards thing, if you're just in one position. So as your hamstrings eased off, then maybe the effectiveness would drop to like 95%. But because I'm using gravity to help bring my body down, then it keeps it 100% effective, right? Does that make sense? I hope so. Let us, is that right? Yeah, let us move on to glutes. So put one foot up on the rail, or one heel up on the rail. I've got it sitting just behind the flap on the rail. Bring your other leg up and over so that your ankle is sitting in the curve of your knee, like the opposite side. Then bring this knee across your body so there's a straight line between your face, the knee, and the monitor. Hold that knee in position with your other arm, and then grabbing the back of the rail for stability. Reset your posture, so sit up nice and tall, and then rotate away from so if your right foot, so basically if you've got your right foot up, this is for the podcast people, if your right foot is up and over your left leg, then you're rotating to the right, okay? And that's what gives you the stretch into the glutes. Quite interesting trying to I was listening to there's a podcast I listened to, I've spoken about before, called Stuff You Should Know. Which I really, honestly, if you like listening to just like podcasts on drives and stuff, download Stuff You Should Know. I'm chopping legs, I'm swapping legs, everybody. So same thing, straight line, hold it in place, turn around. Well, there's two things actually I want to say about Stuff You Should Know. The first one is just, oh, hang on, and then rotate. I forgot the rotate part. The one I'm listening to right now, yesterday's episode, it's all about Helen Keller and how she learned to like get like a university degree and stuff, even though she couldn't see, couldn't hear. And it's fascinating how they initially, like kind of what the initial breakthrough was to be able to teach her stuff. Absolutely fascinating. And basically what I'm thinking is trying to explain to podcast people how to stretch. I'm not saying that's on the same level as Helen Keller, but that's what brought it up. That's what triggered it in my head, is thinking about it. I'm going to stand up and move on to quads. So rest one hand on the monitor for stability. Bring one knee up in front of you, grab onto your ankle, and then pull your heel behind you so that it is up against your backside. And then if you want to let go of the monitor for stability, then please do. Yeah, so anyway, so that just came into my mind. That's what made me start to think about Stuff You Should Know. But the other episode I was listening to was, whoa, I'm going to fall over. I did that on purpose so I could change legs, honest. Operation Mincemeat. So they did an episode years ago on Operation Mincemeat. It's a very clever operation in World War II that the British Army did. And there is a musical, a New York Broadway musical, Operation Mincemeat, that was inspired because of this episode of Stuff You Should Know. And then I'm guessing that then led to the film with Colin Firth, I think, of Operation Mincemeat. And basically, it's worth listening to just because it's just such an incredible story of what they did. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, let's think about some stuff you should know, you should listen to. Push your hands together in front of you, like you're praying. And then bring them down in front of you so that your thumbs are around about sternum height. And this is going to give you a great stretch into your forearms and your wrists. You can change the feel of that stretch by pointing towards whatever's in front of you or pointing back towards yourself. Yeah, so do that if you want to. Like bringing, certainly when I bring my hands towards me, it really kind of gets a little bit more wristy. And a way definitely lessens it, but yeah. Anyway, so that's the stretch there. Now, as being it is Wednesday and it is Bon Jovi Day, we can all do our Bon Jovi pose. Hey, living on a prayer. And then bring your arm across your body. I've now got a 45-degree angle between my arm and my body, and then I loop my other arm over it to help that arm come across my body. And that's then going to give me a great stretch into my shoulder. And I apologize for the singing. That wasn't actually what I was going to sing. It was Lay Your Hands on Me. That's what I'm thinking of. The video for that, this is going back to, I don't know, what would it have been, like 1989 or something? When they released New Jersey. I'm an aging rock fan, so yeah, they released New Jersey. And when he went on the tour on that, he came popping out the stage, had one of those spring things, and it would like, because the song would start going, do, 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 tsh, do, do. This big long intro, and then the drummer goes, and at that point, John Bon Jovi goes boing out of the stage. And that's always stayed with me. But he does, as he's singing that song, like in the video, I've just changed arms, everyone, sorry. In the video, he's constantly doing that thing where he's always going, lay your hands on me, like that with his hands straight out, so. I could audition. I did. At one point I was thinking, because I've always talked about how I'd love to have been the drummer for Van Halen, but at one point I was thinking, actually, it would have been quite a lot of fun to be a drummer for Bon Jovi as well. I can play the Bon Jovi songs a lot better than I can play the Van Halen songs. They don't have a Hot for Teacher. Everything that they play is a lot simpler to play, whereas Hot for Teacher gets a bit tough. I'm trying to do that shuffle with the feet on the double bass pedal. I can play it, but it's very tricky, and you have to kind of get a lot of practice. For all the other drummers that are out there watching this, do a play along to Cupid's Dead by Extreme. That's a great one. That's a great one. I really enjoy that. And hey, I'll give you any drummers out there, ask and I'll give you other drum along songs that you can do. Hey, drum along. Yeah, I did make a ski erg workout yesterday when I was filming this stuff at Castles, but I made the mistake of wearing the Myro t-shirt while I was making them. And I don't think that they're going to be down with that because it's a test video and they're not going to want me to wear it, so I'm going to have to remake that one today. Sorry. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a bit of a meandering finish, hasn't it? It's weird, isn't it, how sometimes my videos during them I get a little bit kind of lost in technique and all that kind of stuff, and then it's the end bit when you guys are just sitting there going, will you just hurry up? This is when I tend to get a little bit lost. I should get a little bit lost within the videos and then they'd be a lot shorter. So I need to get a haircut. I don't think that's going to happen this week, but yeah, maybe tomorrow or Friday. I have to edit all of these Myro videos over the next couple of days, so I think I've got 6 of them in the conveyor belt waiting to be edited, or 5. Don't know, 5, 6. Anyway, right. How about I have this conversation with myself and you don't have to be here for it? That sounds like a good idea. Thank you once again for joining me. Well, hey, we've done with Wednesday. We've got 2 more to go for the rest of the week, and that would be our 5K every day's done for the week. Maybe you're doing other kind of training as well, in which case, fantastic. But if you are done for the time being, make sure to have a shower, have something to eat, have something to drink, and of course, find someone or something and tell it that you love it. Now, I recommend like things like iPads, phones, and TVs. Maybe not that, but cats, dogs, trees, grass, a flower. Oh, a flower would be quite nice. You've got a little flower sitting in your house. I've got a little spiky cactus that sits in my bathroom, bizarrely. I might go up and go, hello, little cactus, I love you, just to see if it responds. It might be funny if it starts to shake. Anyway, thank you once again for joining and putting up with me. I will see you in the next one. Until then, row well, be well. Bye-bye.